Myriam.
Bonjour, Sylvia.
It's very strange to talk in English to each other, but of course, we have seen you in Vancouver before, so you're part of the family here.
Yeah.
You, welcome to Intimate Conversations with soprano Myriam Leblanc, who is well known to us, I must say, at Early Music. She came to visit us a couple of times. This time she will be at Christchurch Cathedral on February the 16th with her ensemble Mirabilia. We'll talk about that strange, mysterious name soon. She will also be in Victoria the next day on the 17th. And with Mirabilia, she will offer something different, but what is always the same is her beautiful voice that is part of this ensemble. Myriam, Mirabilia is an ensemble that you have created a couple of years ago, not that long ago, with Grégoire Jay. First of all, what does that mean? It sounds like a mysterious word.
Mirabilia. Well, one of my in my board meetings, there was a one girl who was just like, I really think Dominique Sorel was our president, and she said, it needs to resemble your name, but also Mirabilia means merveille. So
Yes.
so wonders, wonders. Is
Yeah,
that right?
yeah.
So I thought it was kind of perfect, and it's something that, I don't know, sounds good. We're singers, eh? So whatever feels good in the mouth. Mirabilia, it was a nice name for me. I loved it.
And at the start, did you already, I think Grégoire J was there at the beginning, and
Yes.
did you decide exactly which sound of instruments you wanted to have around your voice?
Yes, well, Grégoire is my ex-husband, and we're still working together, and
Oh, good.
yeah, we're great friends, and you know, some marriage ends happy. So that's good.
I like
That's
that.
really good.
Mirabilia.
Yeah, so but that the idea came from us when we were together, that we wanted to play more together. You know, when you find someone that you can talk so easily, then you can talk music easily too. And we wanted to work more together. So that's when we had the idea. But, you know, we created this like intimate kind of like quartet for many reasons. One is also like it costs less for for people to have us. It's not a whole orchestra. So it's and it gets pretty much what we need also from the music is this intimacy we love. Like I do opera too, and it's so fun to access something else, you know, something in details more. And we'll like, on va creuser, we're gonna shovel. No,
You're going to go deep,
deep, yeah.
dig deep. Yes.
Yes, the shovel here is maybe shoveling because of
Yeah,
this.
because I see there is snow behind you. I can see on the screen you're still in Montreal in the snow. Here we go.
But we have time to do that. And when you're with a big orchestra, you don't really necessarily have the same time to go deep into the music. And this is what we wanted to create also, like having the time, because we have all of us, the four of us have the passion for it. So we never count. We're in at 11 for rehearsal. We don't know when we get out. So it's really fun to do music with your friends, and people are as passionate as us.
So these friends are, there is Mélisande Corriveau,
Corriveau.
who plays
Yeah.
the bass viol. You have the harp, which is
Yes.
quite unusual, with Antoine Malette-Chénier. It's a
Yeah.
Baroque harp.
Yeah.
And then you will have here musicians from here that will
Yes.
join you for the concert. So that's Chloe, of course, that we know well, and Alexander. So they are joining your intimate group. Will you have time to prepare a new repertoire for them?
Well, this concert that we're presenting in February is a new concert for us too. So we're preparing right now, like everyone, we're working on the scores, and there's a lot of like arrangements from Grégoire, because there's things that are written for orchestra, so it needed to be put for quartet. So I think this program has been prepared for more than a year now, of just like managing everything, you know, pretty much. And musicians, we do a lot more than just sing and play.
Yes, that's
As you
true.
should know, I think. But so yeah, we're always thinking years ahead, and Grégoire's putting so much time into the arrangements. They're beautiful, we've been just this Saturday to his house, and we're just playing around them. It's gonna be a wonderful concert. And chaconas, les chacones, it's really like a trance. It's really amazing music to, even if you don't know early music, I think it's the perfect concert to go to, because you'll get into it. Whatever song is going to be played, you're gonna want to dance. You're gonna, it's just beautiful. I would say it's like the pop music of nowadays, of
Oh,
their days.
of their
Yes,
days. That's interesting.
yes,
You propose chacons and passacaglia. Those
yeah,
are two types of dances. So
yes,
when you have dance, you mean that you have a regular rhythm that you get engaged into, and that's why
yes,
you're talking of a trance. So a
yeah.
chacon is a very strict construction, a chacon, no?
Exactly. So it's a ground bass, like mostly on 4 bars, but they can change, but they repeat for the whole piece. So it's like dum 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 da di ba ra ram dum bum da di da da, and then it brings the musicians on top, because the bass is always the same, to improvise, to be super virtuosic, yeah,
Virtuose, yeah, absolutely.
yeah. So and it's very sensual. It's popular tradition too. It's, yeah, so it's really exciting music, I would say.
I mentioned Passacaglia, which might be a bit different though from the chaconne. When I think Passacaglia, and people who are used to the repertoire of new music will remember the ones in Dido and Aeneas, for
Yeah.
example, and Purcell, which is not that jumpy and
No,
happy. I
no,
mean,
no.
it has a certain sadness into it, no?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's not even for our concert, it's not even only like a upbeat music. Sometimes there's like we're doing a Piango Gemo from Vivaldi, and it's Piango, je pleure, je gémis, so I suffer. So we're not dancing on that one. But it's beautiful. It's just like very touching music. Mhm.
I think this piece particularly was or is posted on Early Music Vancouver
Yes,
site. And
yes.
I have to say, it's very rare when I listen to something online, a video like that I get moved to tears. And that was the case.
Wow.
I just talk about it and I remember the emotion. It's funny because people who are not well used to hear Baroque music, they never realize how deeply emotional it can be.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And well, and that I think is why I do music, is what do I want to say? What's the text, and what does it make me feel? And like there's nothing else that really counts. So it's the message is getting into your own world, that the world you're living is transcending to other people, and they can live their own things, and this is how we connect. So it's by emotions. We're humans, and this is the main thing. It's bringing people together on this one moment we're going to share together, and make it true and magical, and but true, vrai. This is what I really always look forward, this special moment.
And today, I mean, 4.5 centuries after the music was written, which is
Yes.
quite extraordinary. So you have a selection of composers. I have the list of musicians
Yes.
here
Yeah.
that cover a century and a half, and it was done a long time ago. You talk about the early Baroque and the late Baroque composers. It starts with people who were born in the early in the 1567, I think, for
Yeah.
Rossi, and
Yeah.
all the way to 1686, so more than a century with the Cesti. And do you see a difference with the music? Because today, when you think of music that was composed 100 years ago, wow, it sounds like old music. I mean, it's from another time. Do you see the difference between the early Baroque and the late Baroque? Is it very different?
I would say not so much because of the chaconne theme. So there's this that really, I would say, puts un encadrement, like how do you say encadrement?
A frame.
A
It's
frame.
framed. Yeah.
Yes, so so the creativity of the composer is, I would say, is more framed. So I would say we don't and they really have their own style more than anything. I don't think it's really about the when it was written, but like, you know, Vivaldi is a master of lines and melodic lines. So he was something else. Like Bach was something else. It was like complex writing. So they each have their own. Like even Ferrari, we don't hear Benedetto Ferrari. We don't hear him so much. Sanchez also, but Ferrari is like, it's super virtuose, and it has a lot to say. It's like a Ferrari, pretty much. But we don't, and there's composers like that. Merula, we don't know him that much, and we wanted to like also like bring, you know, composers that people were just like Monteverdi and Vivaldi. Yes, you know, we'll go for them, but you know, there are people that they really had their own writing, and they were well known at the time also. But you know, with time, we I don't know, we put more time on Vivaldi and Bach and Mozart and, you know, those big composers. But at their time in their country, they were famous.
Yeah, they were famous already a long
Yeah,
time ago.
yeah.
And what you bring is also different pieces of music. Some are part of operas or cantatas.
Yeah.
Some are more concert pieces and or
Mhm.
dance pieces. Between cantatas and operas, is there a big difference? Because it's I feel like sometimes a cantata is like an opera without staging. Am I wrong in calling
No,
it
I
like
think
that?
you're exactly right.
Yeah.
It still tells a story, and the story is what brings a singer to do it. I think they're pretty much, I would say, no, it's all about the words and what we're trying to say. But yeah, it's pretty much like, is there staging or not? That's pretty much it. Even when I do like a sacred piece now, I always think about the text and the meaning around it. It's not as like, you know, purity. We're talking about religion right now. It's still a baby Jesus, and he became a man and did things, and it's a story, you know. So there's something, I think we should always get to the words and tell a story. So whatever you have like tools, then you make the most of it.
You mentioned baby Jesus. In last December, I'm sure you were all over the place singing Messiahs like everybody
Baby
else.
Jesus was in my life. Yes.
You have
Yeah.
a very busy schedule these last days, and both as a soloist and part of operas and everything. How do you jump from one thing to another? I mean, it's a different, you don't have your same family group, your intimate group all the time. You have to adapt to new formations and new styles.
Yes. Well, that's what I like about it. I never get bored.
I'm
and I
sure.
and I have a lot of energy in general. So, and I love working. It's something that people sometimes don't understand. You work all the time, but that's what I like to do. And when you love it, you don't count the hours you put in. So I love it. And I had a thing with opera that my experiences were not always so good, and I was just like, oh, I don't know if I really want to do this in my life. And yeah, it's another thing, eh? Opera is like, you go so quick and you don't have time to look at the music so much. There's maybe 1 week we spend on an opera that is 3 hours long, so 1 week of real
Really?
music, yes, study. So I was just like, oh, this is sad. Because then we do staging, and the last week we're just trying to know where we're going, and so it goes so fast. The stress and the stakes are super high. So to start your career in opera, I would say like it's a challenge. And I was just like, I need to get like more, I need to find who I am before I'm just thrown into that world. And yeah, it took me years, but I would
It's
say,
interesting because one
yeah,
of the first very enthusiastic review I heard about you was when you were singing in Aida and
yeah,
you
I
were the
know.
first priestess, but this is how many years ago? More than 10 for sure.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
and it was a discovery because you were the priestess and you had this crystalline, pure voice, and it was just perfect.
Yeah.
So was it just a happy opportunity that you were having this kind of role to start an opera in a way.
Yeah, I think it was a really good role for me. But what people don't know is that I had like what is a funny story is that you just come in, you do your thing, and you're gone. You have 3 minutes to prove yourself, pretty much, in that scene in Aida. And before I came in, I was so stressed. You have no experience. You're just trying to learn your craft in front of 3,000 people, you know. The stakes are pretty high, and there was like 8 harp chords right before my entry. And instead of counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, I counted 8, 7, 6, 4, 3. Oh, and I could
It's a
get to
lot.
it's here. So like the review was super nice for me, but the experience itself, I was like, I'm not sure I'm ready yet, you know? I need to be feeling the ground more. I need to feel like that I can do this, you know? I can rely on my voice. Like this takes years, actually, I think, really finding the confidence to do it.
It's interesting what you're saying. In fact, when you do an opera, you feel more alone than when you are with your group. Even if there is I don't know, a whole choir on stage and everybody is there and it's an orchestra, but you're alone.
Yes, I would say yes. And now, strangely, I think this is something that you need to work. You know, we spend years in college and university to learn how to sing, but the most precious thing I think they should really put the emphasis on is, can you handle the pressure? Can you handle this kind of pressure? You'll have to be good on the spot at that exact moment, you know? So that you learn on the journey, pretty much, how to do that. And, you know, meeting Grégoire in my life was super, super, it was a benediction, like a benediction.
A blessing.
A blessing. Thank you. And because he was looking at me from a distance and saying, like, I don't feel like sometimes you're in your body, you know? So because you're too stressed, you're in your head. And so meeting him made me think about the body more. And then you get confidence from the body. It's a very interesting journey, because then and age is good and growing into it. And so now I come back to opera because I'm in another state of mind, I would say. Like, yeah.
So tell us about your opera projects now.
Well, I'm doing a Michaela soon.
Yeah.
And I'm doing Les Indes Galantes, also Rameau. And I'm touching bases. I just did a Mimi also with l'OSTR and Francis Chouanière, the young conductor.
The young conductor that everybody is talking about, yes.
Yeah, that is very talented. Yeah, this 20-ish, some 25, 60 years old conductor, that very surprising. Wow. But well, so I'm just jumping more into it, and gladly I'm finding pleasure. So, but yeah, takes time, I think.
But then it's a music from such a different times, because you mentioned Mimi, we have Puccini, La Bohème, you know, late 19th century. And then you mentioned Michaela, so Bizet, 1875 too. So what is it? You have to find a different voice to sing that. Is it still the voice of Myriam Leblanc singing from 16th century music to 19th century?
Well, yes and no. I think the core is the same, but then in like, what, for instance, all the Baroque music, you need to have really much more texture. So you play with the sounds, you play with like the vibrato, and you can do much more. Why can you do much more? Because there's no recordings of them, so we don't expect any sound, we don't expect anything. So then, yeah, it's a page blanche, you know, it's like a white sheet. I'm not sure. It's a blank page. You can do whatever you feel like you want to do. And this is why I love Baroque music, because I have this sense of creativity with textures and sound in my voice. I love to do that.
You talk about the texture, and before I let you go, I want to come back to this ensemble that you will have with you when you come and see us. One surprise for many people maybe is to have a harp. which is some things you don't have all the time. It's not that portable compared to a lute or something like that. So why
Yeah,
did you choose to have a harp in your ensemble?
because we fell in love with the musician.
Okay, that's a good reason.
The musician is Antoine is like one of the most creative musician I know. You'll never hear Antoine play the same thing twice. So we're just gonna like, okay, we're gonna do that, and then we just did a CD. Okay, we'll do the same thing. It's not the same thing because he's just like, oh, I just found a new thing that is, and is every time he does it, it's always getting better. It's like a good wine. So most of all that, and also we love the texture of a harp. It's very fine. It's magical. Why is there not a lot of people who play that? It's that Baroque harp is super hard to play. I can count on my fingers people who really really play that as a as a main instrument. Because like for instance, all the sharps and the flats are in the middle of there's 3 rows. There's no pedals. So like yeah, it's not the harp we know right now where you have pedals and you can sharpen and you do your business but down there, but then it needs to go inside the strings. It's super hard to play. It really but he's like hard working guy, and he managed to go from the harp that we know to this kind of harp, and what he does with it, it's yeah, there's it
Oh,
doesn't get better really.
I hope we can go after the end of the concert closer to see what
Yeah,
the
of
three
course,
rows
of
of
course.
strings. It's
Oh yeah,
the other thing you said it can vary things. You also vary your repertoire because we talked about Baroque, but there was not only Baroque that there in your
yeah.
program. I saw
Ah.
words like Léo Ferré, a Grégoire arrangement of something
Yes,
else.
yes,
And I think that you are right now working on another project. Or the title is Dis quand reviendras-tu? When you will
right.
you come back? This is the title of a Barbara song. So
Yes.
are you expanding your territory to the 20th century?
Well, we always had this discussion with Grégoire and between us two, like when music is good, when it's well written, it's well written. And in that case, Léo Ferré, Avec le temps, col tempo, it's one of the greatest song I think that was written in the past century. It's beautiful and it is a chaconne, you know.
Mhm.
So so that is why we went there, and we have a little surprise at the end of the concert too that people will clearly know. And yeah, we don't on ne lève pas le nez, we say that in French. We don't
You don't snub that
no,
music of, yeah.
no, like for me, Baroque, classical, romantic music is just pop music of the time. And it's in the music that was really well written, we still play. And I think col tempo in 100 years, when we're going to be dead, way dead, it's still gonna play. So this is why on cherche des bijoux. We're looking for gems, and this for us was a gem, and we wanted to do it. And yeah, and I think it's great to always say like there's no frontière, there's
No borders.
no borders between time and music. It's just a way to connect, a way to say text and be in that present moment altogether.
I think in passing, you mentioned before that you were recording a CD recently, and I
Yeah,
remember that one of your wonderful CDs, Luce e Ombra,
yeah.
Light and Darkness, was praised and won prizes. Everything, it would be beautiful. So, what kind of beautiful treats do you prepare for
Now
us?
it's less than a month now. It's on February 9th. It's coming out. It's the second CD of Mirabilia, and it's called L'amour fou, so crazy
Mm,
love.
mm.
Same kind of Mirabilia has this like project to really expand on a we're Baroque ensemble, but we're gonna do Baroque classical, and we're doing Au bord de l'eau de Forêt. We're doing Dis quand reviendras-tu de Barbara. that is a French auteur-compositeur, singer, a
Singer,
songwriter.
songwriter.
Yes, beautiful. She was special. So we're doing this in Brel also as a why not? Ne me quitte pas. So we're doing that, but we're also doing a lot of a song, of course, from Baroque era, and so all talking about love, how love can heal, how love can hurt, how love, how love can do many things, but composers they really were attracted to that, and I understand what is better than love. There's nothing better than love. So yeah, so we wanted to go around it and have fun with it. It's a beautiful CD. Of course, we have like Monteverdi on it too, and Se dolce il tormento, like beautiful things like that we chose because we also wanted to touch that music, be part of it. Yeah.
We want to be part of your group. You seem to be such a leader that you brings people together and want to do things together. I know that you at one point you wanted to be a choir director, and you had a diploma in that. So it's part of your nature to resemble people around you and produce beauty.
I think it is. I think I am meant to do that in my life. This is where I find joy, really. And this is why I find purpose, I think. So it's not about me, it's about a moment. It's about sharing and giving, really, more than I don't really care about my voice. I care about what we're doing there. Yeah.
You might say that, but anyway, I remember Christophe Huss, the critic in Montreal, saying that the voice he heard of you in 2020 was maybe the most beautiful voice he ever heard coming from Quebec in a long time.
Yeah,
So
it was very nice of him to say that. I always take it, but I never take it for granted, for sure. And I'm very lucky to do this every day I wake up and I'm like excited to open my scores and to work on I feel like I'm super, super fortunate and lucky. And this is how I can share my lucky life. I think it's just to share it as much as I can.
very inspiring, Myriam. We're very happy for you to bring this joy and enthusiasm again. So February the 16th at Christchurch Cathedral in Vancouver and the 17th in Victoria. Myriam Grégoire, the ensemble Mirabilia, will be back to us. And the tickets, of course, are available in the Early Music Vancouver website. It's a pleasure to spend a moment with you. Merci beaucoup, Myriam.
Mais merci à toi, un plaisir partagé, a shared, how do you say?
A shared pleasure.
Oh, good. Thank you. And I hope to see you on the day of the concert.
Of course. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.